You know, when you're here at CPAC, you can tell who's got momentum amongst the politicians. You can tell who's got the mojo based on how popular they are here on Radio Row. And our next guest is definitely a man in demand, and it's because of something that we talked about yesterday. Representative Andy Harris, a Republican from Maryland, the Republican from Maryland, representing the 1st District in the House of Representatives. Congressman, thank you for joining. You probably prefer to be referred to as Dr. Harris at this point, right?
Well, the popularity would be higher than Congress, that's for sure.
Exactly. So
that's right.
Dr. Harris joins us, and if you remember, we discussed this yesterday. As part of your role on the Appropriations Committee, you had the director of the CDC in front of you, and they put out this, all the scaremongering that we've seen from the White House administration about the sequester cuts, and they put out this blurb that said because $30 million was going to be cut from a child's immunization program, that over 2,000 Maryland children in your state, how dare you, Congressman, want to hurt the children of your state, 2,000 Maryland children will go without immunizations. And please remind the WMAL listener what you discovered at that point.
Yeah, the director of the CDC came in basically, one of the purposes was to complain about the sequester, and I just asked him, I said, wait a minute, you're claiming that 2,050, they had an exact number.
It was very
they
obviously
calculated down to the exact child, how many weren't going to receive vaccinations. And we had scratched beneath the surface and said, basically in my questioning, which people can see at harris.house.gov, I said, wait a minute, is this the same program that the president was going to cut by twice as much, by $58 million? And if that's true, what was going to happen under the president's cuts? And he basically, after we kind of had to drag it out of him.
If I remember right, his first answer was, I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's right. The standard committee answer, I'll have to get back to you. Well, I wasn't going to take that because this is the director. I mean, this is the guy who should know it. This is not some
If he's going to
down.
make the claim, he has to be able to back it up.
Absolutely. If the White House is going to say this is how many children are going to be hurt, if they're going to accuse Republicans, and you go to that White House website, it used the word Republican 5 times in the introduction to those cuts. 5 times.
Wait, surely you mean the Organizing for Action website, not the White House, not the government whitehouse.gov website.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's really striking.
I think they redirect to each other, yeah.
That's right. And as I pointed out, well, wait a minute. Under the president's $58 million cut, you could vaccinate all the children. He finally admitted, they could vaccinate all the children. I said, but then if it's a cut half as large, which the president is blaming on Republicans, you can't vaccinate the children.
Yeah. It was a beautiful moment. And really what happened here was you have exposed in one way what has been exposed in other ways, that they completely tried to oversell the impact of this sequester. Time and time again, we heard all these dire stories. And, there's no doubt there will be some impact. We all must have to acknowledge that. But they really got themselves in a bind trying to make this thing sound a lot worse than it's turning out to be.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes even worse than that. As I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute. They were still getting that $58 million because of the continuing resolution. I mean, the president's budget was never enacted, so the CDC was still getting that $58 million. And next time Dr. Frieden comes in front of the committee, I'm going to ask him, hey, by the way, what are you doing with that $58 million? Because you didn't need it to vaccinate children. You're not using it to vaccinate children.
Oh, great point.
They're still getting the money.
Right.
It's sloshing around somewhere in the CDC.
Because
I don't know what it's going for.
That's
right.
All right, now, Dr. Harris, you came into Congress in the 2010
and maybe he's
midterms.
Listening, by the way, just in case he's listening, like Nancy Pelosi. Dr. Frieden, that's my question next time.
Hey, give him a heads up. It is where Washington comes to talk. You got swept into office during the 2010 midterms. We refer to it as the Tea Party. You don't back away from that at all.
No,
right?
I'm a Tea Party guy.
Great, and so many people from the medical field, doctors and nurses like Renee Elmers in North Carolina, they came in 2010, I think because they saw Obamacare and realized how it was going to impact the health system in America.
Absolutely.
Now, talk to me about the Ryan budget and the fact that it repeals Obamacare. First of all, is there a chance that could even happen at this point? And what would the economic impact be on the health care system for Americans, one way or the other, the repeal of Obamacare or the continuation down the road to Obamacare?
Well, look, the fact of the matter is America's realizing that Obamacare is going to be a disaster. I mean, it's $1.1 trillion in taxes. It taxes everybody. It taxes at every different level. People at the lower level is going to pay more in premiums. An increased premium as a requirement of Obamacare is just another government tax. It's taxed by another name.
But President Obama said it was going to be deficit neutral or budget neutral. You can keep your doctors, and your premiums are going to go down, not go up. So, are you lying, Dr. Harris?
He has a strange sense of economic law, and elections don't change laws of economics. The fact of the matter is, you can't insure 20 million more people and do it for less. That's just not the way America works.
All right, here's
the way math works.
That's right.
Right. I mean, and elections don't change math. I mean, these are laws.
All right, here's my question. You are the lone member of the Republican conference from the state of Maryland.
It's lonely when we caucus.
When you caucus, wait a minute, you just go into a closet and just have a conversation with it?
I can caucus right here, right now.
You just have your caucus meeting in the shower while you're getting ready for work? Yeah. Well, really, though, what is it like to be a Republican in a state that has become so overwhelmingly blue and is represented by a state legislature that is just, if a Democrat comes up with an idea, it becomes law.
I used to be in that legislature. For 12 years I was there.
I just moved from California. I feel right at home in Maryland. That's a scary thought.
That's right, because now California has supermajorities in both houses. It really is actually exactly the same. And I was actually the Senate Minority Whip. But we only had 14 out of 47 senators, so we could whip all the votes we wanted. It didn't make that much difference at the end of the day. It's kind of scary because it's almost like a different culture. A culture where you believe that larger government is better, that government can do everything, and what's bad for the economy of Maryland is they put all their eggs in the basket of depending on the federal government. Now, if the federal government, as I believe it's going to have to come to its senses, get its budget under control, get the deficit under control, I'm afraid the economy in Maryland is going to suffer. Virginia, on the other hand, didn't do that. They actually consciously sought private industry, bring private industry to the state, make it business friendly, bring everything in, and I think the Virginia economy is going to do better because of that.
Good to have you so much. We really appreciate you coming by.
Congratulations.
My pleasure.
Your timing was perfect with CPAC as well for your moment.
That's right.
We'd love to have you back again.
And I just want to tell you, I listen halfway on the ride in every morning, and I join Nancy Pelosi.
That's right. You and the minority leader are amongst our listeners.
We can't wait to tell that story.